What's going on, Jets fans? It is the Jets Today call-in show. I am very, very happy to see some people have already joined, and if you are here, feel free to load up the comments, throw in all of your hottest takes. We are simulcasting for the very first time in Jets Today history. I am simulcasting to Twitter and to YouTube, so that's kind of exciting. Before I get into any of the call-in information and into any of your comments, and I'm going to read this one in just a second, I do want to let you all know we are going to be live for round one of the NFL draft. We're going to be live for round 2 and for round 3 as well. So if you haven't checked that out, there is already a live stream for that. I understand a lot of you will probably tune in for the Jets Talk 24/7 live stream, but hey, if you're a channel flipper and you want to come and join us, feel free to do that. We're also, on round 2 and round 3, I'm going to be live with James from James from Jets X Factor. He's going to join me as well. And so if you want to come hang out with us for the draft, be my guest. We're also giving away a free jersey. So for anybody that's not subscribed to Jets Today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Give yourself a shot. We're going to give away the free jersey on April 27th. So that is in about a week now. Looking forward to all of this with you guys. It's going to be super exciting. The draft is really, really close now. And without any further ado, let's just go ahead and get to the comments. Again, I will read and respond to all of these comments, guys. And really, I'm looking forward to it just as much as you are as far as the draft goes. But I'm just looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. So Budster70, he says, KT or Sauce are the only choices at 4. Would love to trade up to number 5 for the other one to be 1000% sure we got both. The Giants probably wouldn't do that. I know you probably know that and agree with that. So, yeah, I feel like Sauce Gardner makes a lot of sense. I think I've been saying it, repetitively, that if KT is there, he is my pick. It doesn't matter, who's available. Maybe Aiden Hutchinson would get the edge over him. But I hear you loud and clear. I think that there's a lot of reason to believe that Ahmad Sauce Gardner would be a hell of a pick. Frank Pagan, he's checking in. He says, unless there's no plan to keep Fant or there's a real issue with Becton, O-line makes no sense in the first round. And what he's responding to is the poll. And let's take a look at that poll. I posted the poll, and I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. So for right now, it says, should the New York Jets select an offensive lineman in round 1 of the 2022 NFL Draft? 68% of the votes say no. And you've been watching the channel and you've been listening to the live streams. I am not for taking an offensive lineman in round 1. That does not mean I'm against taking offensive linemen in general. I want a lot and as many offensive linemen as we can get. But I believe firmly that it should be done in the mid rounds and it should be done to build depth. We're not drafting for starters anymore. I feel like that should be a thing of the past. We're drafting guys to be depth pieces and also to be future starters. I feel like I'm a broken record when I say that, but it is just the truth. Stephen Engel, he says, and by the way, Stephen Engel, I was laughing out loud at your comment about my thumbnail, so thank you for that. He says if they take O-line and either at 4 or 10, then they are admitting there is a problem with Becton. And you're 100% correct. So I've been saying they won't do it. I've been saying they shouldn't do it. And I'll definitely eat some crow if they decide to do this. But I will agree that that will be the reason why they do it. If they decide to take an offensive tackle with 4 or 10, clearly they are ready to move on from Becton. They don't believe in Becton. They think that he doesn't fit the scheme because they didn't originally draft him for this scheme. I don't believe that stuff. But that would be a strong indication. If they spend a top 10 pick on an offensive tackle, clear as day sign that they are not a believer. Jerome Strax. If I'm not mistaken, that's been your comment every time the last couple of times that you've joined our live streams. Yes, it is going to be painful. It is a week and a half away. And I was talking to some people online. This last week is going to be smoke screen rumor central. It's just going to be constant rumors and smoke screens all the damn time. For the next week, it's going to be nothing but that. And it's going to be really, really hard to read through all of it and really get a firm grasp on whether any of it's true or not. Thank you for the update on how long we have to wait. Eagle Fang, what's going on, dude? He says, after the show, if you have time, can you link me to where you buy the old school on-field Jets jerseys, please? So it's a great question, Eagle Fang. And here's the thing. They sold them. It was on the Jets website. And they don't sell them for long. These jerseys, the one that I'm wearing right now of Klecko, they sold it. They sold out. And they just stopped making them. And I don't get it. I don't know why there aren't stitched Darrelle Revis jerseys available. I don't know why there aren't Joe Klecko stitched jerseys available. I mean, you could go on and on and on forever. But the answer is Jets, the New York Jets shop. I don't buy my jerseys anywhere but the official New York Jets because I see some interesting jerseys online and I'm like, you did not get an official New York Jets jersey. M. Leahy, he says, any chance we draft Zion Johnson, the center from Boston College? And actually, so he's a guard / center. This is one of my favorite players, and I won't ruin it for Wednesday night because we do have Jake Asman coming on this Wednesday, guys. If you didn't know that, go ahead and find that stream. It is on the channel. We have a segment for our top 10 my guys in the NFL draft. He's on my list. Zion Johnson, I might even like him a little bit more than Tyler Linderbaum. Very, very versatile. Could play guard, could play center. Had to really work his ass off to get where he has gotten to this point. I'm not sure what school he played at, but it was not a Division I football school. I can't remember the name of it, but he earned his way to Boston College and earned his starting, job, and then has obviously worked his butt off to get to the point that he's at. The rumor right now is the Jets, at the Senior Bowl, they were working him out and having him take snaps under center. As a center. And so is there a chance? Yes. I think there's a decent chance for sure. It's more or less where, because he could go as early as the late first round. He could also fall to the early second round. And if we are picking him at 35, I'm totally good with that. No doubt about it. Jets gang, I'm glad you put this in the comments. I'm going to say it another time. I want Sauce Gardner. I do not think the New York Jets are going to draft Sauce Gardner. I want to make sure that's crystal clear. I'm not a fool. I want him bad, but I do not think the New York Jets will do it. Jared Helmuth, it's good to see you in the comments again, my friend. He says, saw the list of people that the Jets had visits with. Please tell me I'm not the only one who had no idea who Taysir Mack was. Funny thing you say that. We did that on, I think it was 2 Wednesdays ago. We talked about the visits, and it was exactly the same thing that I said on the live stream. I was like, no clue. Not a single clue who that guy is. James knew a little bit about him, but Emanon is in the chat. He says, Jets. Jets. Love that. Sean Bennett, I personally wouldn't be upset if Evan Neal or Icky were the picks to be an insurance policy. The problem is you can't draft a number 4 overall offensive tackle to be an insurance policy, can you? To be a backup? I'm not hating on you, Sean Bennett. You're not the only one that actually has this take. I just don't know about that. I don't know if I love it. But certainly those guys are top quality offensive tackle prospects. HD Marino, what is going on, man? He says, if you could get 16 and 19 from the Saints for pick number 4, you could think of it, you think it could be viable to take Lloyd at 10, best edge available at 16, and best wide receiver at 19. Huge way to fill out the biggest needs. Long story short, yes. I would absolutely take the trade back with the New Orleans Saints. Two mid-first round picks in this year's draft, I think, is really where you want to be. And we would then have 3. We would have 10, 16, and 19. We would still have all of our second round picks. Yes, 100%. And it would suck if like Kayvon Thibodeaux was there and we passed on him, but I would still do it because you're going to have the chance to really fill some serious holes with some really good prospects. And I do think that linebacker could be in play. Eddie DeJesus, what's up, dude? He was here on Wednesday when we had Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7, which, by the way, guys, if you haven't checked that out, that was a lot of fun with Ryan, hanging out with him. It's been a long time coming. I mean, I've had the channel for over a year now, and I finally got him on here, and it was fun, man. He's super laid back guy and easy to talk to. I can see why he has so many people who follow him. He's just a really good dude. He says edge at 4, wide receiver at 10, the 6'4" Drake London. I'm a little bit sketched out that he didn't run his 40-yard dash, but that's not his game, right? Like, that's not what he's going to be. He's not going to be a burner. He's the guy that is physical, and he's going to go up and catch the football at its highest point. I'm going through the comments here. Stephen Engel, I'm going to go on record, and I'm saying that the Giants are the ones who trade back with the Saints. Interesting. That's not a crazy that's not a crazy take by you. I think any team would be happy to take that trade. The question is are the Saints actually interested in doing this? Are they really looking to tango? I think that's the big question, because if they are interested, holy moly, the New York Jets should be first in line. They should be all over that. Thank you, Eddie, for being a good friend, my man. This is exactly where I want us to take the offensive lineman. It could be in the second round, and I won't hate that at all. But this is the premium spot, man. You can get a really good offensive lineman here. Cole Strange comes into play, I think. The offensive tackle from Penn State definitely is a guy that I would look to as well. AC, what's going on? Good to see you in the comments. What the hell? Siri's activated for some reason. He says, if the best player at 4 is an offensive lineman, you take him. You can get your edge at 10, and you can get a wide receiver in the second. I do not hate the second part of your comment. Getting an edge at 10, I'm fine with that. Taking a wide receiver in the second round. Some people really hate that idea. I actually don't mind that so much. But I still wouldn't do it. I still wouldn't take that offensive lineman in the top 10. I just don't think it makes, in the first round. I just don't think it makes much sense. Sean McAteer, he says no O-line in the first 3 rounds. I'd be a little surprised if they waited that long. But if they think that there's somebody available in free agency that they can go after the NFL draft, sure. I don't think it's a good idea that we roll into the season with Connor McDermott as our backup tackle, though. All right. Yeah, this is exactly right, dude. Where the hell is the Curtis Martin stitch jersey in the Jets shop? Why are they not selling that jersey? It makes no sense at all. None. Absolutely no sense. It really irritates me. And I do not buy current player jerseys. I don't know if you guys noticed that. I have a Joe Namath Stitch jersey. I have a Wayne Corbett Stitch jersey. And I have a Joe Klecko Stitch jersey. That's it. That's all that's in my closet. I do not have any other jerseys. I got burned too many times with current player jersey, and I just stopped buying them. NY Jets Florida, it's good to see you in the chat. My man, he says, I really want to trade number 10 to New Orleans for 16 and 19 and maybe a third rounder. We will not get that much in a trade back from number 10. If you want to get 16, 19 and a third rounder, you have to give up number 4. And if you just look at the draft value chart, that's going to be what we would need to give up. We would have to give up number 4 in order to get those picks. But I'm with you, man. If we can get those picks, massive. Budster, I've looked online too. There are some, but it's hard to find your size, if that makes any sense. Like, you know, we all come in different shapes and sizes. It's difficult to find the correct jersey size online. Emanon says, I just got my Gastineau jersey last month. Very nice. I like your Bitmoji. That's pretty cool. Let's see here. Going through the comments. Joe Campione, what's going on, dude? He says, I love Bernard Raymond in the second round for backup tackle and a blocking tight end. He is the Central Michigan offensive lineman, if that's correct. I think that's correct. I'm open to anything in the second round. I think I've made that clear as well. I'm not really pushing for offensive line in the second round. I'm not really pushing for linebacker. The only position I'm really pushing for in the second round would be a safety. I feel like we really should go get a safety at the top of the second round. I'm not going to tell you who my safety is right now. I have a feeling we're going to end up with the safety in the second round. I'm not going to say who it is. I'll let you guys know on Wednesday. I might even be making a video about it as kind of like a NFL draft predictions video of a guy that I really feel confidently is going to end up as a Jet. Julio Rivera, what's up, man? You just commented on one of my videos today, and we were talking. Thank you for dropping by. He says, the dream. I like how you start it. The dream, Thibodeaux, number 4. The reality, Thibodeaux or Johnson at 4. We can't gamble with that pick. If Tibbs doesn't fall to us, we cannot gamble with us also losing on Johnson, who could be gone by number 10. I think you can gamble. And I hear what you're saying. You want to make sure you get your pass rusher. I don't think it's such a, it's not a shallow class of edge rushers this year. Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State is a guy that people really, really like. Boye Mafe would be a hell of a draft pick as well. I hear you. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're certainly not crazy, but I don't think that if we miss out on an edge at 4 and 10, that I would be in complete panic mode yet. If they would probably need to trade up though, because at that point you're like, okay, this is sort of a risk. If you don't get your edge real quick after that, you're going to be in a little bit of a pickle. But Boye Mafe, Arnold Ebiketie, there are some other guys too. I think you could go get a really impactful edge player. Jim V. He says, I would take a chance on a wide receiver. And he's saying, let's take that risk on Jameson Williams. I got Jameson Williams as wide receiver 2 for me. And again, that is not a knock on him. It's super duper close between him and Garrett Wilson. I only put him as number 2 because of the knee injury. And again, if the New York Jets decide to take him at number 10, you will not see me cry one bit. I'll be very, very excited and very, very happy. Anthony G, he says, if we got Sauce, I assume at 10. If we got KT at 4. All right, so listen, before I answer the rest of your question, if we end up with Kayvon Thibodeaux at number 4 and Sauce Gardner at number 10, I am going to be running through walls, literal physical walls in my house. That would be it would be outstanding. Ridiculous. He says, what could we do with Bryce Hall? Could he be an option at free safety? I think that it's a very, very tricky situation, isn't it? Because we really like Bryce Hall, but I do view Sauce Gardner as an upgrade. That's the whole situation. It's not that I don't like Bryce Hall. I just think that Sauce Gardner would be too good to pass up as a prospect at an important position. People are saying that, that cornerback is not a premium position. I don't agree with that, because right now in the NFL, you need a quarterback. You need to be able to protect your quarterback, which is a left tackle. You need to be able to get after the quarterback, which is the edge position. And then you need a person that somebody that you can throw the football to. Your quarterback needs a weapon. So wide receiver and cornerback, to me, are right in that conversation for premier positions. So no, I wouldn't move him to free safety. It's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. I would say just keep him. Keep him as a backup. Injuries happen, and he's on a cheap contract. He's on his rookie deal still, so it certainly would not burn us to have him being the 3rd cornerback. What's going on, Harry W? Good to see you in the chat. Raw Power. He says, every day that goes by, I'm convincing myself that we need to grab Jameson Williams as our wide receiver. I think that there's going to be a lot of people, if we draft him, there's going to be a lot of people crawling out of the woodwork to say how excited they are. James DiPietro, what's going on, dude? An OG, or an original person who was watching the channel when it originally was created. He says, let's go get Deebo Samuel. And then he says, yeah, right. Yeah, I agree. Not happening. I didn't even bother making a video on Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown. I just don't think those are realistic options. Terrence from Twitter. I wish you had joined my simulcast. I'm still looking for that first Twitter logo on my screen. It's good to see you in the chat. He says, any concerns about Thibodeaux's performance? Not his character. He says he uses one move that may not work in the NFL. He takes plays off, etc. About his performance. So, I'm not a film junkie, so don't expect a real, like, X's and O's kind of answer here. From my understanding is that he does have a really good motor. It may not be on an elite level like we see with one of my favorite players in Cameron Thomas from San Diego State. Carl Loftus has a really good motor. Jermaine Johnson has a really great motor. Aiden Hutchinson does as well. But I think his is still very, very good. I don't know about taking plays off. I'd have to read a little bit more about that. I've certainly watched some of Kayvon Thibodeaux, and I haven't really seen that be a complete issue. I just think that he's got a really, really high floor, or excuse me, really high ceiling and a really high floor. I think he has a really good chance to be a very, very good pass rusher, and I don't really see a ton of bust potential with Kayvon Thibodeaux. Does he need more pass rush moves? Definitely, and I would say that you could say that for pretty much any of these draft prospects. They all need to work on their pass rushing ability. And that includes just adding more versatility and more counters and hand punches and different things. So do I have concerns about Thibodeaux's performance? Not necessarily. He's pretty strong against the run, too. I think that's something that people sleep on a little bit with Kayvon Thibodeaux. He is not a one-trick pony defensive lineman. He's not going to be soft against the run. He is going to be very physical. Oh, no worries, Sean Bennett. I got you. I hear you loud and clear. And I will just remind you, there are many people that want to take an offensive lineman at 4, so please don't be upset by me telling you anything differently. Eagle Fang, he says, NFL coaches and GMs look for the best players on the board, and Sauce checks the resume to the T. It's a no-brainer for me for Sauce at 4. No matter what the Jets tradition, they will throw a curveball. Yeah, James Wighouse from Jets X Factor is a member of the show. He joins me every Wednesday night, and he has been talking about Sauce Gardner all off-season long. And just a reminder here, we have to face Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill when we play the Dolphins. We have to face Stephon Diggs when we play the Buffalo Bills. And you take a look across the AFC right now. It is quarterback and wide receiver loaded. There are so many good quarterbacks and wide receivers in the AFC. And so you need a great pass rusher to be able to impact these guys, but you also need that number 1 cornerback. And I feel strongly that that is what Sauce Gardner is going to be, especially if you get that pass rush burning. Imagine how these GMs, I mean, I know they feel confident when they go into these drafts, but you're absolutely right. I'm very nervous. It's going to be one of those things where on draft day, I'm going to have that game day feeling, you know, like that burn in your stomach. I'm going to be nervous. I'm going to be excited. But I'm also going to be really, really nervous. I don't want them to pick the wrong player. We need to continue hitting on these picks like we did in 2021. Harry W., he says, I think Mims is going to have a breakout year. Wide receiver in round 2. So we need it. Because right now, as we sit here, even if we draft somebody like Jameson Williams, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Drake London, whoever it may be, we need Mims to step up. It seems like he's going to be on the roster. The early offseason take from a lot of people with sources suggested that he was not going to be on the team, and that could still change. But if you're asking me right now, what's the safe bet? I think Denzel Mims will be on the starting, the 53-man roster. And so we need him to have a better year. It doesn't have to be a breakout year, but he needs to contribute. What he did last year was not a contribution to the offense. And I know you know that. Thank you guys so much for all the people. We got 100 people in here. I wasn't sure how an Easter Sunday stream would do, but you guys are attending, and I really appreciate it. The comments are already overwhelming. I am going to go as fast as I can. Feel free to send in a super chat if you want your comment read as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I will have to go through it one by one. While we're here, go ahead and hit the like button on this stream. Would really appreciate it. As many likes as we can get. And, we're creeping up on 3,000 subscribers. Don't forget, if you're new here, to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm giving away, I'm giving away a free Jets jersey on the 27th of April. So give yourself a shot at the prize. Vervain, he says, I've thought Ekwonu ends up being the pick for a while now. Hard to see Jody passing up on potential BPA due to it not being a pressing need. I think, personally, if you're asking me what's the top 3 going to look like, I'm going to say Trayvon Walker, just based on what I'm hearing. Aiden Hutchinson goes number 2. And then I think the Houston Texans, I don't know. I don't see them going Sauce. I don't see them taking Thibodeaux. I think they're going to draft Ekwonu. I think that's how the top 3 is going to shake right now. So could Ekwonu be there? Yes, of course. And I do think you're right. It could be hard for JD to pass on him. Spin Max Dave, he says 4th and 10 picks in order and if available. Kayvon, Hutch, Icky, Sauce. If yes, trade up for a wide receiver in round 1. If no, get the best edge and wide receiver at 10. I have no problem trading up in this draft. 0. I would be happy to trade up for Linderbaum. I'd be happy to trade up for Daxton Hill. I'd be happy to trade up for a wide receiver like Chris Olave, Christian Watson, Jahan Dotson. There's so many players in that end of that first round range that I think are really, really going to be a good impact on any football team. Nakobe Dean is the rumored player right now to be slipping a little bit. If he slips to the bottom of the first round, go ahead, trade up. Why the hell not? He's a really damn good football player. Scoob, I hate the idea of offensive tackle in the first round to not play him for an entire year. So there's a couple of things that could happen if the Jets take Ekwonu, and I'm not a fan of that, but I will go ahead and play the game. If Ekwonu is the pick at number 4, the New York Jets would probably look to pivot off of Fant or Mekhi Becton. And if you're asking me, it would probably be more likely that they would try to move, or I would want them to move George Fant because he's in the last year of his contract. So you could potentially trade George Fant, excuse me. But it'd be more likely, I guess, the Jets, they'll probably move on from Becton. And I don't like the idea of that. I think it's a big mistake to do that. Jared Helmuth, this is a very nice conflicting report here. He says, Samini says, don't bet on the Jets taking Thibodeaux. Connor Hughes says the Jets will take him if he's there. I don't know who to believe. I think they're all full of it. Yeah, we're all guessing right now. That's the truth of the matter. One of them will be right. One of those 2 will be correct. All right. It's been about 28 minutes of me reading comments. If any of you want to appear on the Jets Today show right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you. Send me a DM on Twitter. Or send me a DM on Instagram. I just checked my 2 accounts. I have no DMs, and I will continue to do the show as is. I will continue to read your comments. But if you would like to get on the show right now and, give me a couple of things that you think are important for the draft as we get really, really close now, I am more than happy to invite you. Send me a DM, and I'll have you join me on the show. And if you want to know how to join the show, check the description of the video. All you have to do is follow me on Twitter or Instagram at NYJetsToday_. James Higgins, he says, no way JD is going to pass on Ikem. I don't think he's going to have to pass on Ikem because I think he'll be gone. But yeah, there's definitely a distinct possibility that he will not pass on him. Lawrence Wapples, good to see you in the comments. I don't know if I've ever seen you before, and if you're new here, welcome. Appreciate you stopping by. He says, which position should we double up in the draft if we have the opportunity to do so? Fantastic question. I'm going to say D-line. Maybe that's a cop-out because there's defensive tackle and defensive end. But I would be okay with even double dipping at edge. That's my answer for you. I think that edge is super important. Bryce Huff, Carl Lawson, Jonathan Franklin Myers is going to probably play inside and outside this year. Jacob Martin we signed in free agency. We don't have enough horses in the corral. We need to get more. And so to answer your question, more edge rushers, more defensive linemen. We need a strong rotation, and that's what I'm rolling with. Joe Campione, you know I love Dax Hill. Love Dax. If the top three edge guys if the top three edge guys drop off, Ikem will be the pick. That's the wise play. JJ at 4 would be a reach. I tend to agree. I think I'm more comfortable taking JJ at 10 and just kind of running the risk of him not being there. I still like a lot of other edge rushers, as I said earlier. If they take Ikem and they decide to trade George Fant, I will not hate it. I won't love it, but I won't hate it. If they trade Mekhi Becton, I will not like it. I think that's a mistake. Scoob agrees with me. He says second round safety is the ideal move. Yeah, I love Kirby Joseph later on in the draft as well. I would be thrilled with Mafe. Yeah, I think they like Mafe. I think a lot of people like Mafe, right? He's a pretty popular guy right now. Even online, just with fans, people really like this kid. Let's see here. Really hoping the Jets don't take a safety in the first 4 picks. It's such a low value position. I tend to agree. The only thing I will counter you with is that the value is going to be really good at the top of the second round. Really good football players, and not just safeties. I'll throw that in there as well. If you're getting a guy that's just a box safety, if you're getting a guy that can only play in the deep, middle of the field, only in coverage, then I can kind of see what you're saying. But these guys are very versatile in this draft class. Lewis Seen can move around. Jaquan Brisker, Daxton Hill, Jalen Pitre as well. I didn't mention Kyle Hamilton. I don't think he's going to be there, obviously. But these are guys that are very, very versatile. So I think anytime you can get guys that can play all over the place, to me, they are worthy of the pick, even if their main position is a safety. I'm not going safety in the first round. That's definitely not my. I'm not interested in that. Matt Baum, what's going on, dude? He says, I think the Saints are going to have to pay a quarterback tax if the Saints move up. So I think they wanted to get number 4. They would have to give us 16, 19, and a 2023 second rounder. Let me rub my hands together on that one. That would be delicious. A future second round pick and the 2 firsts this year. I would do that with maybe the only exception would be maybe Aiden Hutchinson. If Aiden Hutchinson were available at 4, I would probably go ahead and take him no matter what. But if Kayvon Thibodeaux is there and this offer came our way across the table, I would take the trade. It's too much draft capital. It's in a really, really, a deep class with a lot of edge rushers. I would be okay with it. They would need to double dip at edge, I think, to be able to compensate a little bit, but I'm 100% pulling the trigger on this trade. We got a Rhino in here. What's up, Rhino? Thank you for joining the show. He says, if we get KT at 4, Hamilton is available at 10. With Sauce gone, would you go Hamilton there or maybe the best receiver? Rhino, I would go best receiver. I still think that one of the best scenarios for us is KT at 4 and the best wide receiver available, Jamison Williams, Garrett Wilson. I think that's a really, really good first round for the New York Jets. Fills 2 big holes. So yeah, that's my answer for you, Rhino. Thanks for joining the show. Thanks for leaving the comment. KC Smooth, he says, got to make sure you get Zach a real weapon, though. Current wide receivers are not good enough. Definitely agree. We need more depth. I think that's the biggest thing. I like Elijah Moore a lot. I still believe in Corey Davis. Braxton Berrios is a favorite target of his. Just go and get a playmaker. Get another guy that we feel really good about. Algier or Kenneth Walker at 69. This might be an unpopular answer here, but I'm going to go ahead and say I'm not taking a running back at number 69. Kenneth Walker probably has a little bit more upside, but I'm going to go with Algier later in the draft. I just think that he is a perfect complement to what Michael Carter is right now. He will be able to catch the football. He will be able to run between the tackles. And I just find him to be a very, very exciting running back. And Zach Wilson's familiar with him. I don't know if that means a ton because he's a running back, but I like it. I really, really like it. Grant Rude's in the house. What's going on, Grant Rude? Good to see you. We've got GMF. KT's competitive nature scares me. Interesting. Meaning that he's not a competitive dude by nature? Here's the thing about KT. And I think we talked about this on Wednesday. If he actually is like concerned and like focused on building his brand, if he's a sucky football player, guess how bad his brand's going to be. He's got any NFL player has to be very, very careful about that. You can want to build your brand and you can do that. And I think that's totally in bounds to do that. But if you're a shitty football player, you're going to have a pretty bad brand. So I think that with KT, I think it's both. I think he wants to build a brand. I think he also wants to be a good football player because they kind of go hand in hand. You can't do one without the other. King Blaze, he says, I want Linderbaum. There's so many people that are really passionate about Linderbaum. East Coast Gridiron, what's going on? He says, what's up? Thank you for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. He says that George Karlaftis' tape is excellent. Karlaftis at 10 would be awesome too. I'm okay with that. That's why I don't mind passing on an edge at 4. I think some people are really, really focused on it. Having it has to happen at 4, and I don't agree with that at all. I think you have to be a little bit flexible in the NFL draft. Thank you very much for the comments. Let's see. And Sean Bennett agrees with you. Has very impressive tape. There are so many comments. You guys are ridiculous. You are filling it up unbelievably. Thank you so very much for all of the awesome comments. This has been an absolute breeze for me to be able to take your questions and to answer them. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter or Instagram, excuse me, or on Instagram. If you'd like to join me on the live show, go ahead and do that. Hey, we got somebody who might want to join. Let's see here. The link. So I don't know if he's talking about the show or if he's talking about joining me. Don't forget, guys, I am more than willing to have you guys join me for the show. Like, you can pop on right now. Like, you can get on the show, have your face on here, and you can have your moment in the sun where you kind of talk your talk and walk your walk. Looks like maybe Grant Rude wants to hop on. I'm going to send you the link, Grant Rude. I don't know if you actually want to, but I'm going to send it to you, and you can come on if you want to. Totally in bounds. Totally cool with that. So NY Jets Florida, he says, so I researched a recent quarterback draft night trade. When KC traded for number 10 for Mahomes, the Bills received 22, 27, and 91. The Bills received 1,596 points on a trade chart to 1,300 for the Chiefs. That makes a lot of sense because they were trading for a quarterback. So I hear what you're saying. Maybe the Saints would be willing to give up more in the trade up to number 10. I'm happy if that's the case. I'm very, very happy if that's our situation. If we end up with more on the draft value chart, I'm not going to complain about that. Definitely okay with it. Emanon, he says, this is the most excited for a draft that I've been in a long time. I was really excited for last year's draft, just based on the idea that we had the top pick, or the second overall pick, and we had that 23rd overall pick, which we used to trade up for Elijah Vera Tucker. So I was pretty excited last year's draft. I won't lie to you, but definitely this year's draft is super exciting too, with all of the picks that we have. Hard to not be excited. All right, we've got our first call in, so I'm okay with that. It's Grant Root. I love having him on the show. So let me go ahead and remove. Hold on a second, Grant. He's looking at me. He's like, "What the hell are you doing?" I've got this thing on the screen, and I want to get rid of. No, not that. Jeez. Where is it? There it is. Okay, perfect. All right, we're putting Grant Root on the show. Grant, how you feeling, man?
I'm doing pretty good. We're just about at draft day, so getting better. Almost
Yes.
done with the I don't know, all the speculation and crazy talk and all that
Yes.
garbage, I guess.
Yeah. The speculation is a little bit fun at first, and then after a while, you're like, all right, I'm done with this. I don't want any more speculation.
Yeah, it
Uh,
gets pretty old pretty quick.
Very much so. What's on your mind? Talk to me.
Denzel Mims is on my mind.
I
I
saw I saw your tweet yesterday, and I made sure to retweet it. I think that there are a lot of haters out there. Go ahead and tell me about Mims. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I've really been quiet on him. And I just can't give up on him just yet. He's going into his third year this year. Sure, he didn't have a great year. There were a lot of excuses that he could have used, and you really didn't hear anything from him other than he's working. Um, I don't know. He looks like he's put on a lot of weight, like 30 pounds weight kind of thing. Like he looks big.
Yes.
And so if he keeps his speed and he can get back to his college hands, he was a good catcher.
Yes.
And then just the route running and playbook, which does take time for a rookie quarterback. I think he could be something special.
Dude,
Whether you
I'm
agree
sorry.
with that or
I
not,
just want to
that's,
I want to I want to comment on one thing because Stephen Engel threw it in the chat, and you made a point already about it. He legitimately added serious weight to his body. So if you guys haven't looked at the picture of Denzel Mims, first Google a picture of him from his rookie year or even his second year, and then find the picture. It was on Instagram or something. Denzel Mims legitimately added at least 20 pounds to his frame. You had said 30. I don't even know if that's a crazy number.
I think it's closer to 30. He's massive. Like
Yes,
like Steven Engel's right. He looks like DK. Like
he's
he's
big.
massive.
Yes.
So maybe there is some photoshopping, maybe it's a deceptive photo, whatever, but he looks massive,
Yes.
which
Yep.
is which is great. So
I
even saying, I have faith in Denzel Mims, agree with it or not, I still think because I like Denzel Mims and because I want to see him get playing time, I still think we need another wide receiver. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, so we talked about, like, somebody had mentioned in the chat earlier about you draft an offensive tackle at 4 as an insurance policy. I don't think that's the right place to do that, and
Yeah.
that's exactly why I'm okay with taking and waiting for a receiver until the second round, because that to me is an appropriate insurance policy. You don't know what's going on with Denzel Mims. Maybe he can turn it around. Certainly he's working his ass off. Um, People talk about him in practice. Maybe the coaching staff finally got through to him and they're like, dude, you are not going to make it if you don't get your butt together.
Yeah,
Um,
well, and he's got to be in contact with the team, right? He's
yeah.
practicing with Wilson and the other receivers. So, like, I don't think it's a all that much of an unknown.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I'm perfectly fine with getting another receiver in this draft. I think it would be foolish. And again, we don't have that many bodies. We don't have enough players on the
No,
team right now. I don't want Jeff Smith. I don't want there was somebody else that they were working out with. I don't even know his name. I don't want guys like that playing meaningful snaps in 2022. So yes, draft a receiver, even with the idea that Mims could have a bounce back.
yeah, I agree. And then the other thing, all I'm seeing is Ikemakwanu at 4 if the three pass rushers are gone. Um, And I'm a big advocate for this offense is predicated off the run. It's run first, and I'll understand that people like Ikem Ekwonu as their number one tackle. Um, but then why did we draft a quarterback at second overall if we're not going to be focused on our passing sets? So what I mean by that is Ikem Ekwonu is a great run mauling tackle. He's not great at pass protection. He's not great at all. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a little bit below good. So why wouldn't you take why aren't we talking about Evan Neal or Charles Cross? Because they're great at pass protection. Evan Neal is really, really good at run blocking, and then Charles Cross needs has some power issues. He's not good at run blocking. So I'm getting
Like
like,
DeBrickashaw Ferguson.
yeah, well, I wasn't into football as much to be able to really truthfully speak on DeBrick and Mangold and whatever. I watched them. I didn't know what I was watching at that
Yeah.
time. So.
It's similar, like what you described with Cross. And it's an interesting question. It's a great question. So why would they invest in the quarterback so early if it's going to be a run heavy offense? I think you got to have the quarterback no matter what your scheme is. Like it doesn't matter
Yep.
what kind of offensive scheme you're going to run. So if the plan is to run the football a lot, I think that it still doesn't matter who they have at quarterback. They're going to still run the football a lot. You look at like what the Green Bay Packers have done and that adjustment that he kind of went through. He wanted to throw the football a lot more, and
Yep.
the coaches are just like, no, this is the scheme. We run the football to set up everything.
Yeah,
Um,
that's where I was gonna start leading you down too. Was Green Bay predicates their offense off the run. They don't
mhm.
necessarily. Well, I mean, they care about run blocking, but it's not a priority. The pass block is the priority. So
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about these offensive linemen at the top of the first round. I just don't. I haven't even really given it enough thought because I just don't want it to happen. I don't think it's the
yeah,
right move.
I'm in the same boat. Like if they take an O lineman at 4 or 10, I'll be upset. I
Yeah,
won't be happy about it. So
yeah. I will not like it. I guess it'll depend on what they do, though. I'm not sure. Thank you very much for calling in,
you
man.
got
I appreciate you so much, and I hope you have
all
a
right.
good night. I hope you enjoyed the weekend, the long weekend.
Yeah, have a good Easter.
All right, brother. You take care.
Yeah, you too.
Later, man. That's Grant Rude. And if you haven't realized, I am taking live call-ins to the show, and that's exactly what it looks like. You guys can have your moment where you can spit some takes, some ideas, and happy to have you join me. You guys are outstanding in the chat as you have been. Zach Tastic, he says, my new favorite podcast. Zach Tastic, that means a lot to me. Really appreciate that a lot. I wish that I had more time to create more content. That's the truth of the matter. These other guys that are out there, they do a fantastic job and they just pump it out like a well-oiled machine. I wish that I could do that. Matt Morris, he says if you grab Zion, you wouldn't necessarily need multiple O linemen, and that's probably true because Zion could play interior offensive line, guard, and center. We do need a tackle, though. I don't think we can get away with not drafting an offensive tackle in this draft class. We talked about it earlier. No way am I satisfied with McGovern being the backup. Johnny Muriel, he says it's all about the pass rush. Gotta get that right. I should do a poll for the Wednesday show. How many of you would be willing to double dip at edge in like the first 3 rounds? And I think it would be pretty high. I think a lot of people would be okay with that. The poll for tonight, over 120 votes right now, and 58% of the votes say no to offensive line in the first round, which I find to be very interesting. That's quite a few people. All right, we did get a super chat a long time ago, and Jared, if you've been waiting, I do apologize. Thanks for sending it in. Thanks for supporting the channel. He says, as long as we don't draft Derek Stingley and Trevor Penning at 4 and 10, I'll be okay. That's my worst case scenario. My best case scenario changes daily. You are a good Jets fan. If your take changes every day, it's because you're open to different ideas and you're open to the New York Jets getting better in a multitude of ways, which they need to do. And I'm not going to talk about Derek Stingley because I don't know if I want him either, but I will make it known, and I've said it for a while, even after his alleged like good Senior Bowl workouts, I do not want any part of Trevor Penning. I think that's a hype machine. I think it's all BS. Trevor Penning, I watched the highlights, or excuse me, not the highlights. I watched the film of him at the Senior Bowl, and to me, he plays like an asshole. Like, I'm being as serious as I can be. He plays like a jerk. He was throwing the defensive lineman, into the quarterback, and it was a holding play. Like, when he did it, it was a hold. He got bull rushed by a dude and getting pushed way, way back, held on to him. He led the NCAA in penalties. He had like 31 in his entire college career. I get that there's some upside with him because he's physically very gifted, but BS, I don't want anything to do with Trevor Penning. So I agree with you, Jared Helmuth. I think that's a bunch of baloney. I will be really, really upset if they take Trevor Penning in the first round. All right. Edward Stewart. He says, this season will tell me everything I need to know if they're getting better or if they're staying the same. We better not be staying the same. My God. We had Jets Central. It was that night I had him on. He talked a lot about that. He expects the team to be a 6 or 7 win football team, and I tend to agree. That's about the range. The 6 to 7 wins has to be impressive wins. They have to be good wins, and then the losses cannot be these catastrophic meltdowns that we saw last season. The loss that we had, both of the losses to the New England Patriots, were brutal, absolutely embarrassing. The one in New England was horrific, as you all know. The Colts game on primetime on Thursday night, I believe, we got our doors blown off and embarrassed on national television. We also lost, what was the other team that I was going to say? Oh, crap. Bills. Oh, Broncos. We went to Denver and got shut out. Not okay. And it will not be okay even more this year if those kinds of games are happening. It's going to cost people their jobs if we're not producing better than what we did last year. Jared Helmuth agrees. Mims is going to break out. Jets Gang is saying that he's got to work on his route running, and that's totally fair to say, man, because that's definitely something that he came into the NFL needing to work on. He was a raw prospect, but Grant Roode talked about it. He had strong hands at Baylor. He has great deep speed, and he was already kind of tall. Now he's going to be big and tall. This dude looks jacked. Looks really, really big. So, yeah, I think we should be carefully and cautiously optimistic with Mims. NY Jets super fan. He says, I want the same sauce Mims is on. Don't we all? Jeff Smith. No, thank you. No, thank you. HD Marino saying, I like Charles Cross for that reason, how he's a good pass blocker. Yeah, he seems like a DeBrickashaw Ferguson. That's kind of the conversation. Lacks the power, but he'd be a good fit in this scheme, that's for sure. For his ability to move and to be able to block on the move. Let's see here. Michelle's checking in, and she says, I used to say Robbie Anderson wore 11 because that's how skinny his arms were, and then Mims got that number and it kind of worked. His arms are not number 11 worthy anymore. Holy hell, he's big now. Yeah, he got strong. Phew, good Lord. I haven't heard that one. Denzel Mims is said to be 226 pounds. I don't really care too much about the body fat part. It's still a very, very impressive number, obviously. But the 226 part, with him being as strong and as lean as he looked, boy, oh boy. Give him the ball, and you should give him some opportunities to create after the catch, not just, throwing it down the football field. Give him the ball and allow him, or excuse me, make other players have to tackle that. A 220 plus pound wide receiver who can fly and is just a big and long arm dude, he will be hard to tackle in the open field with that kind of size. So I'm up for it. Listen, long story short, Stephen Engel, I used to be pretty jacked, actually. Not as of late. I was in really good shape around the time my daughter was born, and then she kind of ruined it, right? As kids tend to do. Jerome Strax, absolutely. Protect the quarterback, hit the quarterback. That is the recipe, right? Also have a great quarterback. Have some weapons to throw to, that sort of stuff. But I hear you. Those are the two most important aspects of any winning football team. If you can't hit the quarterback, they're going to drive all over you. And if you can't protect your quarterback, you're not going to be able to string drives together. It's just a fact. You're going to have too many negative plays. Hey, Grant Root, I appreciate that. He says, highly recommend getting your face and your takes on. It's fun, if nothing else. Yeah, and it takes a couple of minutes, right? You pop on, I give you a link, and it's over and done with. Vern, I was wondering where you were. How you doing, dude? He says, only if it's a Jabo am I double dipping edge in the first 3 rounds. That's super intriguing. I don't know if I would do a Jabo. He's super high ceiling. If it's round 3, I'd be more willing to pull the trigger. I guess you did say first 3 rounds. I don't know, man. If Mafe's there in the second round, I would definitely consider that. But Ojabo, I know a lot of people are willing to pull the trigger. You're not the only one, for sure. Michael N. Minus the Buffalo game, our offensive line didn't look too bad towards the end of the season. Holy hell, what a nightmare that was, that game. What did we allow, like 8 or 9 sacks? Yikes. We also had like 4/5 of our offensive line out. Fant, Becton, AVT, and Tomlinson are enough. We have bigger needs. Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And depth. We need depth on the offensive line. Dark Soldier, I agree with you. Not only will he be a personal foul machine, he just seems to play sloppy football. A lot of holding from what I can tell. And I get it. You want your offensive linemen to have like a mean streak and to play nasty and to finish, their opponent. He's saying you're crazy. I don't know, dude. He looks pretty wild to me. I'm not a big fan of his. He certainly has the talent though. Harry W. He says we have too many holes to fill to take an offensive lineman in the first. The O-line is now a strength of this team. Exactly right. We've got our starting unit. And that's what I keep trying to tell people. Our offensive line, the starters are set. Why would we go and spend an early pick on a position in which we don't need a starter? I don't know. I just don't get it. Yeah, there's a bunch of people in the chat right now saying they're not high on Penning. Listen, if he's a superstar, if he comes in the NFL and he's just an absolute beast, I'll be wrong. And I'm okay with being wrong. Right now, I am not confident in him, and nor would I be happy if he were a New York Jet. Jack Koch, he says, gotta disagree about... I like this comment. He says, I gotta disagree about it. He says, you need a little asshole on your line. Still can't get over everyone looking... Oh, this is a great point. Jack, very nicely done. A good counter argument to what I've been talking about. Yeah, when Zach got hit in that Pats game, which I was at in person, for that game. Yeah, and our offensive line kind of just walking around like nothing happened. Certainly, you would have to expect that Trevor Penning wouldn't allow that stuff to happen. But I hear what you're saying. That's a great response. I'm glad you threw that in the chat. Yeah, Jet Central. Put a goat next to that flexing arm. He is the goat. Another 4-game win would kill me. I'm expecting 8 wins. We'll see after the draft, right? I think everybody's going to try to change their prognostications. That's what happened to me last season, is that I went into the year saying we were going to be like a 4 to 6 win team. And then I got crazy and I was like, we're going to win 8 or 9 games. I'm going to be very careful this year. 6 to 7 feels like the accurate number. But I don't hate you for saying 8. I'll be so happy if we do that. 17 competitive games are a must for heads not to roll. It doesn't even have to be 17 competitive games. We can lose. We can lose a bad football game. Like, we can have some bad football games, but we just cannot get our doors blown off multiple times, and on top of that, lose 13 football games. Ideally, though, yeah, 17 competitive games, that would be wonderful. It'd be frustrating to lose a lot of those competitive games, but at the same time, though, you would be like, okay, we're in most of these football games. We're a couple of pieces away, and then in 2023, they're going to go all in if that's the case, right? If they're playing, a lot of games really, really close within one score game. So that would be what, anywhere from 1 to 8 points. If they've played a lot of those football games in 2022, I bet they push their chips in the middle of the table. Joe Douglas will do that in 2023 to really try and get this team over the hump. Holy moly. Joe Campione says if Wilson is average, the Jets will win 10 games. Holy cow. I'm not there yet. That would be unbelievable, but I'm not ready to do that one yet. Let's check the Twitter. Let's check the Instagram. Let's see if anybody's messaged me. Let's go. We got Jorge Gonzalez ready to join the stream. Let's go ahead and let's get the link here for my man. All right, Jorge, if you're watching right now, I am sending you the link. I'm going to try to catch up on this chat while I'm getting you out here. Stephen Higginson. Sir, it is good to have you. Thank you for stopping by. If you have not hit that subscribe button, I hope you do so. Giving away a free Jets jersey for the draft. He says no on Penning, no on Kennard, no on Christian Watson. Most passes he received in college were lobs, soft throws. He misjudged or couldn't handle the fast-paced throws. Interesting take. Christian Watson does feel like a little bit of a project. He's not a well-established wide receiver by any means. That's kind of why I like him, is because I feel like they can put him as the 4th or 5th option in the offense, and he can kind of just learn and grow. But he's certainly not ready for, day one, a lot of playing. So I agree with you on that front, Stephen Higginson. Thanks for the comment. Really appreciate that. All right, we've got Jorge ready to go here. I'm going to go a couple more comments here, and then we're going to get him on the screen here. Let's see here. Jaw. He says, Jets need to draft at least 3 defensive guys in the first 2 rounds. Got to fix the worst D in football now. Need playmakers to change that. -13 turnover ratio to our favor. Our turnover ratio is abysmal, and it's a huge factor in winning and losing. There's no doubt about it. We're pretty much catching up. Let's go ahead and let's get our man on here. Jorge Gonzalez has joined. This will be his 3rd time, I believe, coming from the Windy City, Chicago. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing just fine. Hope you had a great Easter Sunday. How are you feeling?
Oh man, oh, it's nice and enjoyable. Just doing some work, Sunday night work, getting ready for the week. It's coming. You ain't gonna stop it
Yeah.
from coming, right?
Uh,
Gotta get ready. So, but figure I'd jump in here real quick and listen to everybody. Sounds like everybody's ready for this to be over. It's
oh my
last
God.
week before the actual draft week, right? It's exciting. Now it's like, okay, finally, it's the last week, man. It's the last week. So here we go. Here we
Yep.
go. So.
What do you we've talked before, so what is your any updates on anything that you expect the Jets to do, what you want them to do? I know you've already kind of given me that before, but what are you feeling lately?
Uh, I think the biggest one is what is New Orleans really trying to do? Because that was such a big move. Like you make that move with like a plan, right? And they're not a bad ran organization, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Loomis like they're respected, they're well respected. So if he's doing
Definitely.
that, like okay, this dude's got a plan. So what is he trying to do? Who is he talking to? And I can also see him being like, yo, like if I'm gonna do this, I'll do this, but if anything gets out, I'll move on to the next one. Like don't leak this shit out. So that's and I like that, right? Like organizations that don't leak crap out, like they know what they're doing. So, um, but then everybody's talking about Denzel Mims. Hey, good for the kid, man. Good for the kid. I hope he gets his shit together. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he comes back and has a really good year and all that stuff. But at the same time, I think I wonder if he's a true fit for the scheme that we're trying to run.
Fair
And
question.
if he is, then great. But if he's not, I think this is good. Maybe Joe talked to him, maybe the coach talked to him, and be like, look, you may not be a fit for us, but get your ass in shape, show that you're ready, and we'll get the best value for you, and we'll send you to a place where you will maximize your talents, right? And I think that's what they're kind of trying to do, trying to build that culture where like we're not gonna baby anybody, but we're also not gonna screw anybody, and I think that's good, right? Because then it starts showing like the outside players. It's like, hey, you know what? If I go there, they're not gonna just put me to a side or whatever, put me in a doghouse and just let me rot. They're gonna try and help me to put me in a better situation, and
It's
if we
kind of
do
like
that for
the
Denzel, then that's great.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off. I just wanted to say
No, 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 no. Go ahead.
it's kind of like what the Chiefs did with Tyreek Hill. They kind of gave him that choice. They didn't completely like screw him over and send him to a team that he didn't really
Absolutely.
want to go to. So I think you're right. It's like winning cultures will not do that to the players. I mean, of course they'll do that sometimes, but it seems like maybe that could be the
Yeah.
case for the Jets. And I like what your head's at, if they're saying to him like, look, you probably aren't a great fit for us, but if you get your butt working, other teams are going to be interested and they're going to call, and then we will look to move on from you. So I want to ask you a question though about that, because if they do decide to trade him, which not a crazy thing, people have talked about that. So what do they do? Because then we've got Elijah Moore, we've got Corey Davis,
hmm
Braxton Berrios.
hmm
What else we got? I got nothing, right? So what do we do?
Well, and I've thought about that too, and it's like, okay, who would need a receiver like him? And again, this is, but Seattle
Oh,
needs a receiver like
ooh,
him, right? Seattle needs a receiver like him. If they were to make any moves, if they're trying to better their quarterback situation, because come on, like there's no way that they are like, oh yeah, we love Drew Luck. Like there's no way. There's no way that they're looking at Drew Luck and they're like, this is what Pete Carroll is gonna go out with. Like I think Pete Carroll
right.
probably has a little bit too much pride to be like, yeah, this is if I go out, I go out like this for the last 2 years of my life of my NFL coaching career. He's not doing that. So who, hey, maybe they want to move up to number four. Maybe they'll, send DK to us. We'll send Denzel. We'll, swap picks and they'll throw in or honestly, I think that evens it out for me. Give give up the four, give up Denzel, give us the nine, give
Oh,
us DK and call it a day. And then that kind of gives us, the nine and the ten and you know, Joe Joe's gonna wheel and deal, man. Joe, he's gonna do whatever he has to do. I have everybody keeps on saying this, and I'm on board with, at least with this portion. I have faith in this organization. I have faith in Joe's leadership and his ability to, make moves when they're there, and then stop himself at a certain point with, like, the Tyreek Hill stuff. He could have probably offered more to where Kansas City was like, yeah, you know what, Tyreek, that's too good to pass up on. But
Right.
he didn't do that. He wasn't. I think when one of his interviews, he said, "I'm going to be aggressive but not reckless," and there's a
Hmm.
difference. And that's a good measurement of leadership, right? It's like, hey, you know what, the guy's looking at long term. He's looking today. He's looking long term, and he's going to do what's right. But he's also not going to overpay for anybody. And I think that's key. I mean, ideally, we get a proven wide receiver. We all know that. We all want that, I think, and it makes sense. It absolutely makes sense. You get a proven wide receiver while Zach is in his rookie deal, and then as he goes into hopefully as he becomes that dude, and we got to pay him. Okay, well, now he's getting paid. Now we start going. We might have one really good wide receiver, but then everybody else will be on their first terms, and we start kind of like swapping them up and making deals, making trades. But I think right now it's my biggest thing is I'm looking at Pittsburgh and I'm looking at New Orleans. Like, what are they trying to do? What are they trying to do? And if
Yeah.
New Orleans is willing to come up, I've heard, and I think I think you might have said it too. I've heard people that say like they won't do it if KT is there. Um, I honestly, I'll do it regardless of who's there.
Yeah.
If New Orleans tells me that they're giving me the two first and a third either this year or next year, I don't care which year. I mean, I'm completely okay. If they give me the two first and a third, I'll make that deal. I don't care who's on the board. I don't care if it's KT. I don't care if it's Walker. I don't care because then I know that with the 10th, I probably could still move or I stay. And I love Karlaftis. I think Karlaftis fits our team. I think just
Hmm.
his demeanor, his abilities, and he's not like your, you know, 6'6", bender or whatever. He could play a little bit inside. I mean, can you imagine if we had Karlaftis and, Franklin Myers and,
Yes.
Williams, and then you create a five-man line right there on, passing downs, on third downs, and it's like pin your ears back and go get them
Yep.
because all those guys can rush. All those guys can rush. So like I'm just looking at it from that perspective. It's like, hey, you know what? Just let's get some players. We
Yeah.
need some guys that can put pressure on the quarterback. We need some guys that can make plays on offense. And I'll leave with this. I think Olave is that dude. I
Yeah.
honestly think Olave fits our offense the absolute best. He's 6'1". He's we know he's fast, but if you watch a little bit of his tape, his cuts are so clean.
Yeah.
His ability to
Smooth.
just speed up 10, 15 yards and then boom, go in either direction. The kid is incredible. I mean,
Yep.
21 years old, and he is just, again, he's not small. And that's the biggest thing that I look at. He's 6'1". He's got long arms. He's got sure hands, but his cuts and his ability to just move on the fly in either direction. I mean, I've seen him where he's left corners 2 yards in a matter of like a second and a half. So it's I think we're gonna do well. I think we're gonna do well. I trust JD. I really want that trade with New Orleans, though. I
Oh,
think that
dude,
would,
I do
man.
too.
I think that would set us up. I think that would set us up, man. I've done that trade on a couple, few mock simulators, and I always trade out of the 19th. I always do because I think we can pick up more. And man, that man, if Joe does that, I'm gonna send it to Joe and be like, hey, come on, dude. I
Yeah.
won't even take credit if you do this. You like, I'll leave you alone. But that's
All
it,
right.
man. Thanks
Jorge,
thanks
thank
for
you
letting me
so
on.
much,
It
dude.
was good, man.
Yo,
Absolutely,
you
brother. I'll
have a
be
good one,
here
dude.
checking you out. You take
All
care,
right,
bud.
brother. Yep, you
Go
too, man.
Jets.
Thank you so much for coming on. And I got Jerome Strax. This is great. So maybe I need my own version of the chicken. I don't know what it would be. I want you guys to throw that in the comments. What should the Jets today be? You're out of here. I need like some sort of animated GIF or something. Grant Rudy says spot on. I love that Trader Joe is willing to get aggressive, but knows there's a limit. He's a great flavor of unpredictable spiced with responsibility. Definitely agree with that. This was an interesting comment here. I want to get back to it from DKB X Jets. He says, "Can the defense get back to outperforming the offense or match them if they both excel?" As of right now, we are going to add to our defense. I think that people need to wrap their heads around that. They are going to probably draft 2 to 3 defensive players with those first 4 picks. And I'm on board with that. And if they can get young, fast, athletic, and just big time playmakers on defense, yeah, ideally we need them to match each other, right? Like you don't want one side of the football team way better than the other side. It's just not you're not a balanced football team. So yes, we need our defense to get back to playing good football. It's definitely important for sure. All right, I'm going to get back to these comments for a few more minutes. If anybody else wants to join me before I end the stream, I would love to engage with any of you. Oh, we got, let's see here. Evan, nope, not him. All right, we've got HD Marino. You messaged me a couple of minutes ago, so I'm going to actually get HD Marino on here. I'm sending you the link right now, my man. And you can go ahead and hit that link and we'll get you on here as soon as we can. Afram, good to see you in the chat. He says, "I don't see the Titans, 49ers, or Seahawks trading any of their young premier receivers. If we had a receiver like that, would we want to really get rid of them?" Great point. Sometimes you don't have a choice as a franchise. Sometimes those players just kind of force their way out. But you're right. But you're right. I don't think we're going to be able to get DK Metcalf from the Seahawks. I don't think they want to trade with Joe Douglas anymore. Truth be told, I really believe that. This is a funny idea, Kev Chata, and I'm actually going to start looking into this. I have some fart sound effects actually. Here we go. Here's the first one. There's that one. Maybe that's what we need. And then like something to fly across the screen. Now we're getting childish. All right, let's get Mr. Marino on here. And I'm going to add him right now. How you doing, man?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing good, dude. Happy Easter to you.
Yeah, happy Easter to you.
Thank you very
brought the
much.
laptop down to my parents' house, and then I, saw you had your stream tonight. I was like, it's time to jump on again.
Let's do this thing. All right, well, talk a little bit. Tell me what's on your mind. What is your latest take? I know you were off of the Drake London bandwagon there. You were telling me about how much you do not want him, but tell me whatever you want.
At this point, I'm sure I've aggravated thousands of people across 3 different platforms about how negative on Drake London I am, and it's still the same. I can't. I'm just so stressed out seeing him mock to us. I mean, literally at this point, I think he's like my wide receiver 6. I don't want any part of the guy. I'm so high on London. I've become higher on Burks. I literally think Burks is just great value. Deebo Samuel on his rookie contract. I don't see why if we wanted Deebo so bad, we can probably get Burks in the late 20s.
Yeah, I think that's the range he's going to go to for sure.
So, and again, I'm not a scout. I don't watch all this game footage. I'm not an X and O guys.
So if I'm gonna ask you, so you said Burks. Who are the other receivers that you would be okay with landing? Like let's say they trade back from 10, or even if they stick at 10, 35, 38. Who are some guys that you would be looking to target? Because I think that they are going to take a wide receiver. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to go at some point, 10, 35, or 38. So who are you looking for?
If my dream scenario, I'm looking for Olave first. He's been my receiver 1. I don't know what it is. To me, I'm thinking of like a Mike LaFleur offense. They want route runners. Everything Mims has not been up until this point. And if you want a guy to help Zach Wilson's development, why would you not go for the best route runner in the draft, who is great at a deep ball, which Zach Wilson just happens to love to do. Mm-hmm. So to me, I mean, I don't have anything against Wilson. I'm a little iffy on Williams only if he can't play early in the season. I would hate to for not him to not play till like November, and then say it doesn't work for whatever reason, and then you're kind of in a bad spot. But I wouldn't hate him. Burks, I'm cool with. You know,
Where would you take Olave? Because that's the discussion I think that I wanna go with you on this one, because I don't think we have a spot. We don't think we have a pick where not necessarily where he should go, but where I think the Jets would be comfortable taking him. Would you do it at 10? Sounds like you would. You would.
I'm biased because I think Washington will take him at 11.
Okay.
I could see the Vikings taking him because Thielen's not going to be Thielen forever. Houston doesn't have all these amazing receivers.
Great point at 13, yeah.
And I forget who's 14. I forget.
I don't know.
Yes. So yeah, all these teams could take him, and I'm just looking at it for Zach Wilson because everyone's so hyped up on defense. Don't get me wrong, you're not getting edge rusher. This draft sucks. But I'm sick of watching Jets offense 3 points, 6 points, 9 points, 11 points, 7 points, like just 5 for 11 for 100 yards. Like we need a guy who's going to help Zach Wilson be the best guy that he can be.
So you would do it at 10, and there's a guy on Twitter, and you probably know him, Harrison Glazer.
Yep.
So he's big on Olave too, and I have Olave as like my third wide receiver right now as far as like where I would take them in the draft. Wilson being the first, Jamison Williams like a 1B, and then I'm totally in bounds with Olave, man. I think that he does, like you said, I think he does fit this offense to a T.
I know he's got concerns about his yards after catch, and he's a little smaller, but not that I think 6 foot. I think he is.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah, he's 6'1". Yeah, no.
I'm literally just thinking that as again of a guy who's gonna burn people. I think he ran like a 4.3 something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see if you wanted guys like Tyreek Hill, guys who can burn a field. Like I just don't see why. I mean, to me, he's checking every box the Jets are basically trying to sign.
That's a great point.
So I mean, that's and again, if London is the pick. And I'm going to be just sitting here kind of like clenched up, like, oh, please let me be wrong, the kind of thing.
Exactly. Right. That's the whole thing. And there have been players that the Jets have drafted where like, I'm just like sitting there like, this is like not what I wanted them to do at all. But you're hoping by all means, like we're all fans. We want to be wrong if that's the case. Yeah.
I just want to win. I'm so sick of being the laughing stock of the league, I have a bunch of my best friends are Bills fans, so I hear it endlessly from them.
Sorry, dude.
I know. It's fun life. So, but no, more than anything else, I just want the team to do something,
Yes.
And I think this is the year to take a jump now. I don't think we're making a run or anything, but.
Yeah, I think that they should look to win more football games, period. I think that's got to be the case, right?
I looked at the schedule. And assuming the team can win a division game, I see 7 wins on there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams with rookie head coaches that don't scare me. Every team can have a bad Sunday. I mean, I think it's possible.
They should be certainly very, very close to 7 wins. No doubt about it. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. No, you're good.
I was going to say also the defense was so bad last year. It's almost impossible statistically to be that bad again. So they're only going to go up. So could be.
That is a really good point. I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah, there's no way but up with the defense. Danny, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. This is like the second time, right?
Yeah, second time.
All right, brother. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, bro.
Yep, you have a good one. All right. 3 calls in. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. Would love to see new faces though, but I think we got a lot of shy people watching the show right now, and that's okay. No disrespect. All right. I got a super chat I got to get to right quick, and it's from I am Jim Jet. And he says, part of our new culture should include not giving up on our guys so fast. Mims needs a fair shake. He needs to be able to get his shot at OTAs. He needs a shot at minicamp. And he says the treatment of Becton is shameful. Could not have said it any better. You're right. Part of our new culture should not be drafting players and then giving up on them right away. I think, you can feel however you want about Denzel Mims. I think that last year was bad enough that if you feel like it's better that he just moves on and that we do not keep him, I can respect it. I think he should stay on the football team. But like you said, the stuff with Mekhi Becton really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know that people were frustrated with his rehab, but he is a hell of a talent. And I think that people are really, really crazy to go on to social media and basically verbally assault the man and talk about how much he sucks, how fat he is. I think he's going to be a menace this season. I really, really do. All right. Mims getting a chef will eliminate food poisoning excuse this year. I think he did get a chef, right? That's not just like you joking around. I'm pretty sure he did. Oh, Steven Engel. You know, it's funny. I don't either. I think you know that because you listen to me. My voice is not all that deep. Call in, man. I double dog dare you. I would happy to have you on the show. No worries. Yeah. Nobody sounds perfect, right? Unless you're like Frankie from Flatbush. He's got a great voice. T.A. Rugg, he says, Mims has 0 touchdowns in 2 seasons. He doesn't deserve the benefit of any doubt. But I am all for him trying to earn his way back into the wide receiver rotation unless he is outplayed in camp. And that's kind of where my head is at. I'm not ready to forgive or forget yet with Mims because last year was, like you said, and the fact that he hasn't scored a touchdown, that is bad. But having said that, I think that he does have a spot on this team as of right now. We don't have enough wide receivers to sit here and say, yeah, let's just scrap him completely. I think it's a bad idea. No worries, Steven Engel. Maybe next time. Lance Dominguez. Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. He says, at what point do the Jets need to fold the franchise? Never. They will never fold the franchise, Lance. And it doesn't matter how many seasons we continue to lose, how many games we continue to lose. The fans are going to be here, and the Jets will remain. I'm pretty sure you're just busting my balls, though. That's okay. Christopher Phillips. Mims wants the money, so he's coming to play this year. Hey, man, listen. By year 3 in your career of the NFL, you're damn right. If he wants to make money, this is now or never. If he wants to get paid and if he wants to get a second contract from a team, he's got to start producing. So really good comment there. No doubt about it. Budster, Gary V wants to buy the team. He does. Unfortunately, Gary V doesn't have enough money. Truth be told, he's very, very wealthy, but he does not have the money. It's going to take billions of dollars. Let's see here. Oh, Kev Chada, I have an interview with Victor Green on the channel. I would love nothing more than to interview Wayne Corbett. Leger is somebody that I actually reached out to, and he said that he would be willing to do it. I got to reach out to Wayne Corbett, though. I got to swing big, right? I would love to have Wayne Corbett on here and talk to him a little bit. Lance, I knew you were just joking around. It's no big deal. I can take a joke. Some people would get offended. Not this guy. Let's see here. Hurry up, draft. Ben Twinning. Agreed. James Higgins. It was too wet, huh? Let's try a different one. Oh, that's the same one. Sorry, let's try this one. That one sounds like it hurts. I will not cheer for the London Jets. Okay, that's true. If we move to London, yeah, that would probably be it. That would be one of those scenarios where you rip everything off the walls and you set a flame to them. Yeah, that would be awful. Yeah, Elon Musk could afford us. He could buy the team, definitely. I remember that play, PC, and that's exactly what I was thinking of when I think it was Kev Chata that threw his weight. Apparently right now he's about 225 pounds. Imagine how hard he'll be to tackle when he gets on the football field at 225. He's never played that big. I think he added about 25 pounds to his frame. I know that Grant Rood said 30. I think 20 to 25 pounds for sure. He got way bigger. Shoulders, his triceps, his arms in general, chest. Dude looks big. Josephi Patterson, good to see you in the comments. He says, the character assassination of Tibbs is next level. We don't draft him. We continue to be who we are. Okay, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. Listen, the guy wants to build his brand. I don't agree that he doesn't play hard. And you're kind of right. If we decide to pass up on him because of those reasons, that's not good enough for me. Christy Marie with always the hard-hitting questions. Who's the first to win a Super Bowl? Is it going to be the Jets, the Jags, the Lions, or the Commanders? Well, the Commanders technically have multiple Super Bowls to their franchise. I know what you're saying, though, because they're new. The name is new. Jets, Lions, Jags. Oh, I hear what you're saying now. The first to win the next Super Bowl. Okay, now I read you. Jets. I'm going Jets. The Lions are never going to win, right? We can all agree there. The Lions are they're stuck forever in whatever it is they're doing. The Jaguars are kind of a mess. And, recently they went to the AFC Championship game and it's been nothing ever since. And then the Commanders, their owner, Dan Snyder, is literally worse than any owner in the NFL. So Jets, Jets. That's my answer. Oh, man, you guys are relentless with this chat. No worries. Yeah, 30. Listen, I had said it when you were on. 30 is not crazy, and it absolutely could be the case. Because, again, he was wearing pants, and it's hard to see how much he worked on his legs. We all saw the top half of him. Certainly looked like he filled out for sure. In terms of 30 pounds, though, if he got strong in his legs as well, which I hope he did, 30 pounds definitely is not crazy. Let's see. You liked and you subbed. I appreciate that. We're giving away a Jets jersey, so hopefully, since you're not a Jets fan, you don't win. He says, what's your overall take on their offseason so far? I give it a grade of incomplete. Once the draft happens, I'll be able to better assess it. If you're asking me right now, though, pre-draft, how have they done? I would give it a solid B to B+. They've filled some big needs, but unfortunately, we have so many big needs, they couldn't possibly fill them all in free agency. So we're stuck going into the draft, kind of having to draft some positions and potentially may have to reach for some of those positions, which is a little bit scary if you ask me. Blitz got beats. He says, if we draft London, you can say goodbye to Mims. That's not a crazy statement. I think Drake London is in the conversation to be a New York Jet and could be drafted by them. And you're right. If they do draft him, it could spell the end. However, I will remind you again, even if we draft London, we are still pretty damn thin at the wide receiver position. So don't rule it out. Oh, this is perfect. This is literally perfect. Screw you guys. I'm going home. I like that. I might even write that down. Christopher Phillips, the Jets should be trading down from 4 and 10. I don't know if they'll be fortunate enough to be able to do both of those, Christopher Phillips. But if they could pull off one of them, I think that's definitely in bounds. Pick up extra picks in the second and 2 late first rounders and picks for next year. Too many holes. No team has ever had more than 4 first round picks. And, if you're saying we're going to pick up 2 late first round picks in addition to these other mid round picks, I don't know if we can actually spend all of them. At a certain point in time, you can legitimately have too many draft picks. That is a fact. So I'm not trying to say you're wrong, but I will say that by trading back from both of those picks, you almost have to trade up at some point in the mid rounds. And maybe that's what you're suggesting, is maybe by trading back with both of those, you have the flexibility to kind of maneuver around. Lawrence, didn't they move him to tight end? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think you're talking about Lawrence Cager. I think they moved him to tight end. That could be completely wrong. I have no idea. Big Daddy. What's up, Big Daddy? He says, I'm tired of the Drake London love fest. He moved his 40-time trial from April 5th to April 15th and still did not run. He's too slow. He might be, but he's a pretty good route runner for his size. And at 6'4", 215 pounds, I don't know if you're really expecting him to be an absolute burner, but I hear you, because a guy who's built similarly, Mike Evans, he can fly. He can run fast. So I hear you loud and clear. There's certainly a floor with Drake London. He has some bust potential. I will agree with that. Ooh, I love this question. Another sneak peek to Wednesday. We are doing a segment, and it's literally this. Fill in the blanks. I literally wrote it out, and I might even steal this one, PC. I like this one a lot. I'm writing that down. I'm stealing it, buddy. Sorry. I'm going to save that one for Wednesday, though. Just a reminder here before, I've been going a little bit longer than I expected to do. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys. We've got over almost 140 people in here. Hit the like button. Support this stream, please. If you haven't subscribed to Jets Today, go ahead and do that, because we are going to give away a free Jets jersey on April 27th. So that's about 10 days away now. Give yourself a shot at that prize. And then lastly, don't forget to send in your mailbags. I am going to post on the community tab tomorrow, and I'm also going to send out a tweet and an Instagram message asking for your questions and your comments for myself, for James, and for Jake Asman, who's going to be on the show this coming Wednesday. So don't forget to do all of those things. Would really appreciate the support, guys. Oof, I'll take Mims over London. Yeah, there are some people that really, really are not comfortable with Drake London, and I get it. Like I said, he does have some bust qualities to him. Great question, Grant Rude. Sorry, you are ginormous. My apologies. He says, at what point do the Jets need to have quality over quantity? They have 60-something guys signed to the roster. Their holes need to be filled with blue chippers, or they will continue to be what they've been. I don't know if I can add anything to that. You're probably right. I do like the idea of trading back. Certainly not with both picks. With trading back from 10, though, you're going to accumulate some mid-round picks. Jump up. Get back into the first round. Get another blue chip player. And so I think you and I agree here, Grant Rude. The trade back scenario that I've talked about a lot is the Saints one. But dude, use the picks that you get to move up. Don't be passive. Be aggressive in the NFL draft. I really do feel like that's important. Madden Mobile Tips, thanks for joining us. He says George Pickens would be a steal as a second rounder. I think some people like him as a first rounder. I don't hate him at all as a prospect. He's certainly got some serious upside to him. he's one of those guys that has boom potential. And I'm okay with that. Definitely if he's available in the second round and we didn't take somebody at 10, I'm down. Definitely okay with that. Gary Flanders, he says the Jets should trade for Tua. He says, as a Dolphins fan, I'll take a bologna sandwich for him. Thank you for coming in here as a Dolphins fan and being funny. I appreciate that. Very, very funny. We'll pass. We will pass on the trade. Sorry. Jamal Simpson, my man, thank you so much. Best Jets show. I think you're being kind. Really appreciate that, though. Mike Evans is not slow. He may look it, but he is a fast dude. He's not quick, but he is fast. Got some really good deep speed. My man, I appreciate this. I like to be spoiled and pampered a little bit. I need it. My ego's not quite big enough. Sky Pilot, he says, Big Daddy is right. London is too slow. GMF, he says, Lawrence Cager came back as a tight end, but he is only 220. No way he can compete at that weight. Yeah, and maybe they envision him as kind of like a Quincy Enunwa, because there were times where they kind of used him for his blocking ability, kind of like an H-back scenario. Maybe they see that with Lawrence Cager. Oh, man, you guys are something else with these comments. I can't keep up. I literally cannot keep up. Blitz got beats. Completely agree. I don't want to spoil it. Daxton Hill is a guy I really like. If we can get Daxton Hill either trading up into the first round or if miraculously he falls into the second round, he is one of my favorite players. He is on my guys list. I'm going to be sharing that on Wednesday. He is on the list. James Higgins, he says the Jets need to move back to New York. Yes. They could move there's you know, I don't live in New York. I was born in New York. There are many different things that happened when they were building this, when they were trying to find a stadium, and they were so close to building that Manhattan stadium. That would have been so dope. So cool to have a downtown New York Jets stadium. It would have been our own stadium. That's what I want more than anything. Put it in the middle of the Meadowlands again if you want, but make it ours. Let the Jets have their own stadium, man. David Cordero, thank you so much for tuning in. He says, should the Jets double dip at corner in the first round? I think you're messing with me. No. If you're being serious, absolutely not. No. They can take Sauce Gardner. I'm okay with that. But no, they should not double dip. Sky Pilot, he says, yes, trading back at 10 is the best scenario. I'm okay with trading back from 4 or 10, but certainly not both. The draft needs to be tomorrow. I can't wait anymore. Just imagine how we're going to feel on the 27th, the night before the draft. And I hope that all of you guys tune in for that show and for that episode of the live streams. Let's see. Interesting. Bill, do tell. Do you have something in mind? He says, I think JD will shock us with something that's yet to be discussed. Do tell, please, good sir. I would love to hear what you have to say. My face is not red. My face is perfectly perfect. It's not red at all. I'm drinking water tonight. Little H2O. My face is not red, though. Damn it. My face isn't red. It gets red, though. Jim Pock, London wasn't too slow for excelling in college. This is true. Again, he does not have to be a burner. That's not really his game. So the fact that he doesn't run an ultra fast 40-yard time Not a big deal, but again, the fact that, he doesn't run all that fast, he has to be extremely good in a lot of other areas. So his route running ability needs to keep improving. He needs to continue to be strong at the catch point. So I hear what you're saying, though. Your wife said that you're fire. Still not enough. Oh, she's sucking up. I'm just kidding. If you're watching, honey, don't be mad. Don't be mad. T.A. Rugg, he says, Traylon Burks to the Jets would make me happy. Despite his 40, he has plus play speed. Just check out the Alabama game. Plus, he is big. Yeah, Burks is like the perfect example of somebody who plays faster than their 40 time. With some dudes, you're like, okay, you ran that 40, and it's like evident when we watch you on film. And I do agree that Burks has good long speed. He doesn't have that initial burst, but long speed and like going down the football field, excuse me, I think he does have that. And so you're right. I think he does. He has enough speed to play in the NFL, and he's pretty versatile too. Plays in the slot. I like Traylon Burks. I just wouldn't take him at 10. I'm so glad you like Dax Hill, dude. He is 100% easily one of the players that I've talked about the most this offseason. I think he's going to be great. Interesting. Joe Campione, thank you for throwing this in the chat. He says Gardner had an RAS score, RAS, in the low 7s, which is the size and the athletic abilities. He said Revis's was a 999. Gardner will never be Revis and isn't worth the 4th pick. Interesting. So for anybody that's new to the channel, hope you understand. Anytime that somebody can make my points look stupid or wrong, I'm all ears. Always. That's interesting. Hadn't seen that. I still think he has really good athleticism, though. Ahmad Gardner? I don't know. Jamal Simpson, I appreciate it. He says, let's get those likes up. Appreciate that. We do need some more likes. Let's see if we've gotten 100 yet. Oh, yeah, we hit 100. Excellent. That's kind of my barometer. If we've gotten less than 100, I'm pretty mad at you guys. I'm not going to lie. But we've hit 100, so I appreciate you, chat. Jim Pock, great question. Who will be the edge that the Jets draft? Right now, I'm going to say Kayvon Thibodeaux. I think he will be available at the 4th overall pick. Right now, I'm saying Trayvon Walker to the Jags, Aiden Hutchinson to the Detroit Lions, and then I think that the Houston Texans will take Ikem Ekwonu. I think that Kayvon Thibodeaux will be a New York Jet. If you're asking me right now what I think is going to happen, I think that's what's going to be the case at the number 4 overall pick. I don't think they will pass on him. Blitz got beats. He says, let's double dip at wide receiver, not at corner. Sure. I wouldn't take 2 wide receivers terribly early, though. I would take maybe 1 early and then maybe get 1 in the mid rounds. But yeah, I'm okay with it. GMF, he says, DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, MC2 are the starting cornerbacks, and Eccles will play in the dime, and Guidry is the backup nickelback. Yeah, I think, if we get this pass rush really moving and grooving, those guys can definitely get the job done. Bino, what's up, dude? It's been a while. He says, London is so slow. Everything is a contested catch in college. Imagine what it'll be in the pros. Hard to argue. He did do a lot of contested catches in college football. Edward Stewart, this is exactly what I'm saying. He'll never be a burner. That's not who he is. And so if you're drafting him, you're not saying to yourself like, oh, maybe one day he'll get faster. That's not going to happen. He has to excel at everything else to be a really good football player. And there's been so many examples in the NFL's history, not just at wide receiver, at any position, guys who don't have the elite athleticism and become really good football players. The one that I always point to is Anquan Boldin. Anquan Boldin was a hell of a football player. Had a bad 40 time at the scouting combine, and it dropped his stock. He was a really, really good football player. He did all the little things very well. Oh, man. My wife is a coward. She won't come on the show. I keep telling her to come on the show. Hey, Michelle, if you're watching, why don't you go ahead and send me a DM? Send me a DM on Twitter or on Instagram, honey. Come on the show. We don't have to hear your mock draft, but maybe we could hear some of your hot takes for the New York Jets. She hasn't made an appearance on Jets Today, so maybe 130 of you are in for a treat. That would be pretty funny. Good question, Jets gang. I think you could probably just Google it. I've seen on Twitter that the RAS scores, you can probably go on Twitter and search and then hit images. You could probably find it that way, but probably just Google. Austin Ruiz, simple question to answer. Right now, I want a safety at 35 or 38, and it's maybe one of the firmest positions at a draft spot that I have right now in the entire draft. I'm flexible in where we take our edge, 4, 10. If we want to trade up into the first round, if we want to trade back from 10, I'm okay with that. But I really feel like the safety spot, we are in a premier spot to land a really hell of a good football player in the second round. It just depends on who's available. Some of these safeties are going to get drafted in the first round, but some of them will not. And the ones that do not get drafted in the first round, I want that guy. Sky Pilot, he says, good point by JC. Jets cannot afford to draft a corner at 4. Has to be an edge. It doesn't have to be an edge. I hear what you're saying, because 100% edge is way more valuable than a good cornerback. So 100% agree there. But it doesn't have to be an edge. If the first 3 picks are Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kayvon Thibodeaux, I am not in favor of taking an edge at 4. I think that would be a mistake. Reaching a little bit on JJ, even though I really like Jermaine Johnson, I don't think that makes sense. We need an edge, but we don't have to reach for an edge. Do you know what I'm saying? Get your edge at a good spot in the draft. And there's going to be a number of them, guys. This is a good edge class. It's deep. So we can get one in the mid rounds. We could get one at the end of the first round, at the beginning of the second round. Joe Douglas has to be flexible, man. If the value is not there, he's not going to reach on a guy. I don't believe he'll do that. Big Daddy. Burks was clocked running 22.6 miles per hour. No play in the NFL featured a faster speed last season. I've read that, and I've seen that online. It's incredible how some guys, their speed just translates on the football field. And that certainly seems to be the case with Treylon Burks, no? Let's check and see if my wife messaged me. Nope. Too scared. Or she's not watching, either one. Grant Rude, I guarantee you she would give you a resounding approval. I was in really good shape. I'm not in good shape anymore. I just spit out soda. Jamal Simpson. Lewis Seen from Georgia. He says he also wants a linebacker. There could be some really good linebackers in the second round as well. Brandon Smith from Penn State makes sense. Christian Harris from Alabama. I would even say Chad Muma. Chad Muma could be in the conversation as well. Sleeper linebacker, I don't think he'll go in the second round. Troy Anderson from Montana State. He's real good, real athletic. He only played in the FCS level, so not nearly the competition of some of these other guys. So that could be an issue for him, but he has the size, he has the speed, he has unbelievable production in college, so I'm a big fan. Matt Snell jersey, I like it. Matt Snell, he probably should have been the Super Bowl MVP, right? Or was that Boozer? I can't remember which one was running all over the Colts. I think it was Snell. Pretty sure it was Snell. Definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. That's why I'm repping him. Number 73, Joe Klecko. I wish that I had been a Jets fan during his time. I had to watch it after the fact. Muma, yes. Christian Harris, definitely. I agree. Matt Snell, I was right. Boom. Anderson would be an excellent pick later on. Yes. Troy Anderson looks like a nice sleeper pick for the New York Jets or any team, really. I think he's going to be a hell of a player in the NFL, assuming he translates well to the next level. All right, guys, it is almost 10 o'clock. I went way, way over what I was expecting to do, but that is because of you. You guys came, you showed up, you loaded the comments, and it's honestly, it's hard for me to walk away when the conversation is rich and you guys are just loading it up. I'm having too much fun. That's really the ultimate thing. I'm just having a good time talking football, talking Jets with you guys. I'll give you one last pitch here, and then I'm going to head out of here. Don't forget, Jake Asman's going to be on the Wednesday show this upcoming Wednesday night. Don't forget to send me your questions, your comments, your takes for the mailbag. I will read your questions and your comments at the beginning of that show. So send me a DM on Twitter, send me a DM on Instagram. My handles are on the screen right now for you. You can also look on the community tab on YouTube. I will put the mailbag up there tonight or tomorrow. If you haven't subscribed to Jets Today, what are you waiting for? The giveaway is going to happen in about a week. 10 days, sorry. Going to give away the Jets jersey in about 10 days to one of my subscribers. And that's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, hanging out with me. It was a lot of fun. Really appreciated Sky Pilot. And we got Gator Country saying the Jets are horrible. It's all good, brother. We're working on getting better. And, you know, I'm sure whatever team you root for was probably bad at one point or another. That's going to do it. Go Jets. Have a great night. Thank you, guys. Happy Easter. Have a marvelous week. And I will see you guys on Wednesday night. Go Jets. See you guys next time.